Watono Huado, Según Ser Luego, Todo Cuidado, Yunchucks. That's Mohawk. Essentially, welcome everybody. Bienvenue. Thank you for coming. Good day, sure. Mon nom est Brent Etienne, une chef de Mohawks of Venezuela. My name is Brent Etienne, I'm one of the chiefs of the Mohawk Council of Venezuela. And today we're here to talk about an eco gift presentation for on the as the engagement for the future of the pines. So just for so people know, it isn't just myself and my fellow chief here, Chief Imagova, on our behalf. We also have members from Eco Corridor Laurentian. I don't know if you want to introduce yourselves quickly, or all of you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Marianne Schinner. I'm the Executive Director of Eco Corridor. I'm going to give a small presentation on our organization in a few minutes, just after Chief.
Hi there, I'm Jeff Samuel, and I'm project manager and the biologist.
I'm Kim Marino. I'm the co-founder of Eco Corridor Laurentian, the organism that will plan and accompany the project right now. And I'm very proud to be here tonight and to talk about this project.
We also have representatives of our legal counsel here to answer maybe some of the more in detail questions that people have. If you guys want to.
Hi, I'm Marie-Alice Stem from Dion Shoals.
Hi everyone, Nicholas Dodd from Dion Shoals.
Okay, and with that, we'll start the presentation. So we're here to talk about the future of the pines. The pines as a whole are more than just trees. They do have great cultural, historical, and environmental importance, not just to us, but to our region. For generations, Ganstanono have used this land for everything from gathering medicine, medicinal plants and herbs, to grow and store food in the area, for various cultural practices and ceremonies, and for community gatherings and for recreational uses, and just to get back to and touch the land and everything, like touch grass, as they say now. So the pines are a mature and sensitive ecosystem, home to many plants and animal species. If you look at the screen in front of you, there's a little map that shows an overhead view of the location we're talking about. You'll see that there's a purple line running north-south on the left side of the map. That essentially corresponds to the street L'Annonciation. And then on the western half, there's also a large map here for the participants. And then on the western half, the wooded area just beyond the green and yellow lines is essentially the eastern half of the new development of the village of Oka. And that bottommost street, I believe, is Deping. I believe that's Deping. I'm not very with the Oka streets, so I'm pretty sure it is, but don't quote me on it. All of the lines you see in there are different paths and trails. The colors denote the width and the width of the paths and everything. I believe the green and yellow are the largest ones, and the purple ones are slightly smaller. As you see, there is quite a lot of different routes and everything through there. Some of them are large enough to accommodate vehicles. Some of them are more like for bicycles or ATVs, and a few of them are footpaths. There's not too much more to say about that. It is a fairly large plot of land. I'm not sure what the actual acreage is. I don't know if Marie-Alice or Nick, if you know what the actual acreage is.
Okay.
Start with there.
60 hectares, approximately, a little bit less.
Yeah, so just under 60 hectares. That's great. Awesome. Yeah.
50 acres.
Okay.
Acres, it is, acres.
Okay. If we can move on to the next slide. So, why are we here and why now? So as of 2019, an opportunity has emerged to protect the pond, or this section of the ponds long term. In 2003, the land had, as of 2003, the land had been under private ownership. The current owner, under colonial law and everything under Canada's law, has expressed a willingness to transfer the land to Gunnestoga for conservation since 2019. There were, unfortunately, it's not without complications, as these things tend to go. There are obstacles like the community is, unfortunately, right now the community is under financial and legal pressure. This includes debt and creditors. There would be a risk of legal action linked to ownership that could put the land under threat to be seized from creditors. The land is also treated by outside governments as private and taxable. So if we were to say just outright buy it, without going through the process of having it added to the community land base, it would be taxable municipal land still. I know that's something people aren't too crazy about. And as part of the larger outstanding land claims, this land is part of it. It's part of the, I think it's still part of the small commons, or is this part of the large commons?
Small company.
It's okay, so it is part of the small commons and everything that is still outstanding and not resolved. Yeah, and that is an ongoing file. So this opportunity is a possible quicker route to get the land returned to Gunnestoga for the use and benefits of the Mohawks of Gunnestoga. So if we can move on to the next slide. So what is the role of council? As I said before, this work began in 2019. And the caretaker council has the duty to keep progressing on ongoing files. We know we know that there is concern as to whether this falls within our mandate. We've taken the stance that because this has been something being worked on for quite a while, it's just a continuation of the previous mandate. The council is only facilitating the process, not making a unilateral decision. The council has an obligation to work within the legal and financial realities until the land claims are resolved. And the community's involvement is necessary to decide on a way forward for the protection of the pines. I think a good way to think about this entire, where we are right now in the timeline of events is, I think people are worried this might count as consultation, and we aren't there yet. This doesn't count as consultation. The best way to look at it is this is still part of the research phase of anything. Prior to this, council and eco corridors were simply in, the fact-finding phase of things on whether this was an actual feasible possibility through the ecological gift program, and eco corridor needed to understand whether or not this was something they were able and willing to do themselves. And now, once we figured out that yes, this is something that is actually possible, we're moving on to this stage of research, which is presenting the information to the community so that community members can look at the information and research it along with us. So that eventually when we go to the community and ask the questions for consultation and everything like that, hopefully people have enough information to make an informed decision. I think that's a good way of looking at it. This is clearly within part of the research phase. No decisions have been made, no contracts have been signed. We're all still in that learning period. So what is being explored? What's being explored is the land transfer for conservation. So the land transfer through the ecological gift program, the land would be protected permanently. There would be clear rules that must be set out. about what activities are allowed, and certain types of development or use would be restricted. I know that last bit and everything may raise alarms with people, but I think if we look at it and we look at our desire to protect and maintain the ecological sanctity of the pines, as opposed to what's happening in other parts of the forest, I think we can see that these goals align. So the other part would be Indigenous Protected and Conservation Area, an IPCA. This is a model of land protection based on Indigenous values. This would allow protection of the land for future generations, continued cultural and traditional use, and community-defined rules for land use. I think there might be more to that, but we'll talk about that later. Right now, we can move on. Thank you. So the potential partnership between Mohawks of Conestoga and Eco Corridor. Because of the legal and financial realities, MCK is exploring a partnership model with Eco Corridor Laurentian. Why is this considered? First of all, it's to help manage the legal and technical aspects of the land transfer. Then to support the ecological restoration and rehabilitation of the forest. Also to reduce the financial risks and liabilities, and to help protect the land from taxation and external pressures. It's important to note that no agreement has been signed. We're not there yet. And the goal is to protect the land while keeping community voices central. So I think considering that first column, supporting the restoration and rehabilitation of the pines, people know it's part of our history that these were all planted at the same time. And the natural lifespan of a forest, like any other entity, has a lifespan. And that's something we're going to have to think about moving forward. What that means, what we want to do with the forest, whether we want to stay the same or we'll let it progress along its normal life cycle. Yeah, so the financial risks and everything, those are things we'll go back to later. But so yeah, an obvious question, even the one we had at the beginning, was why didn't we just take the land back? Nobody likes the idea of receiving a gift that already belongs to us. The Mohawk Council of Conestoga, the Mohawks of Conestoga have always asserted that this land is ours. This program and this arrangement doesn't alter that. This is the assertion that the pines and whatnot are part of our traditional land base. There are real factors, though, and threats that limit the options. The colonial legal systems recognize the land as private property, as fee simple property. Land claims are progressing slowly, unfortunately. We all wish that, it could be done yesterday, but that's, just not real, the way things are. And as we said, there's debts and creditor risk attached to the land. So essentially, if this was bought as fee simple land, just like any other fee simple land, if the purchaser has a debt to a creditor, that creditor is entitled to put a lien on any assets the individual or organization has, and that's a issue that would be a real possibility. So taking ownership also directly exposes the community to financial liabilities. Like we said and everything before, this would be taxable land under municipal taxes. I think that's something we don't want to do. I don't think we want to set a precedence paying municipal taxes on what we assert is our land. So I think that would be setting a bad precedent for now in the future. I don't think that's anything anybody would really agree to. So once again, the most important things are to protect the land, avoid financial risks, and maintain community involvement in this, and that's why we're doing this. If we can move on. So what decisions need to be made? For the land to be protected, clear rules have to be defined. What activities should be allowed? What activities should be restricted or not allowed? What about our cultural and traditional activities, recreational activities, any land management that would have to take place, what type? Any infrastructure considerations that we have to engage in? All of this stuff, obviously the voice of Gunstock matters. That's why we're doing this. We have to protect the pines for the future generations. In order to do that, we have to define how the land will be used, and we have to just ensure that the decisions reflect community values. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay, I guess, Niall, thank you everybody for listening to this. And we'll move on. We saw your question, Amanda. I think we'll have a question period at the end and everything like that. We will get back to it, but let's get the info dump out first. So next up is our presentation by Eco Corridor Laurentian.
Okay, hi everyone. Again, thank you for welcoming us. I'll mainly present who we are, then I'll talk about our collaborative approach. I'll present what we do. I'll have a small section on the ecological assessment of the clients. I'll also talk about the infrastructures, and I'll conclude with the risks to biodiversity that we saw on the left. So, Eco Corridor Laurentian, if not changing. I am on the next slide, but it's not changing.
Is Justine in charge of that part?
No, it's me. Let me start again, sorry. Yes. Sorry, technological difficulties. Okay.
Peut-être mieux de partager ta page que ton PowerPoint.
Ouais. There's 1 minute. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm sorry. It's the best I can do. There's a change.
Est-ce que c'est sur partager?
Sur mon écran? Ouais. Non. Oh. Ah non, je sais. Quand je change, ça change.
Peut-être parce que tu es obligé de partager un screen, mais pas le bon.
On va tester. Peut-être que c'est lui que je vais partager. Je vais essayer.
Non?
Oh. Si je partage.
De partager juste la fenêtre.
Ouais, c'est ça. Voilà.
Il y a la fenêtre, puis il y a le screen.
Il y a le PowerPoint, puis il y a la fenêtre.
Comme ça. Ok, ça change là. Alors, qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire?
On va continuer avec ça, cette page-là.
Ouais, parce que là, j'ai deux fois. I'm sorry, bear with me one moment. I'm so sorry about this. Wardrobe malfunction. Okay. So this is what I want. Yes, great. So EcoCartograph, we're a team mostly composed of biologists, but also geographers. And we're an independent nonprofit organization that's dedicated to conserving natural environments and protecting ecological corridors in the regions in close collaboration with organizations, institutions, and citizens. Our vision is to connect Kanesatake to Montrement through a network of interconnected ecological corridors and protected areas spanning the Laurentian vision. And ecological connectivity is important to us because it means that natural areas remain linked to each other rather than being separated into isolated fragments. And that allows wildlife, plants, water, and ecological processes to move across the landscape, which in turn then helps the ecosystems stay healthy, resilient, and able to adapt to climate change. And that helps to protect the relationships between forests, wetlands, rivers, lakes, mountains, and communities. So ecological connectivity is important not only for biodiversity, but also for clean water, for climate resilience, for access to nature, for cultural values, and the well-being of present and future generations. And here on the left, the image shows the ecological network that we work on. You can see in dark green the conservation corridors, and in pale green, the ecological corridors. And an analogy I like to make is as if the green, dark green conservation cores are intact homes, and the ecological corridors are the networks of roads that connect these different homes and that help wildlife, humans, and all the natural processes to move from one place to another. So we work with a variety of partners. I'm sorry, my English is not the best. I'm really trying my best. Universities, RCMs, cities, municipalities. We also work with Indigenous and non-Indigenous governments, with farmers and forestry producers, with Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities, as well as citizen groups, nonprofit organizations, and mostly in the environmental and in the recreational tourism sectors. Collaboration is at the heart of our work. And for us, since we're acting as a regional partner and facilitator, our role is mainly to bring together people, knowledge, tools, and resources to support conservation initiatives that are meaningful for the territory and for the communities that are connected to that territory. Our collaborations are based on collective goals, on shared strategies and priorities, on an open dialogue, and on decision-making structures that support equity and collaboration. For us, collaboration is about developing meaningful relationships, mutual understanding, and the trust needed to address environmental challenges together. So that was about our approach. Here's a little overview of the project, of what we do. So we're involved in restoration projects, mostly in Mirabel and Sainte-Sophie, and there's a problem with my presentation. I'm sorry for that. But in Sainte-Sophie and in Mirabel, we work with farmers to reforest shorelines and increase ecological connectivity. So, for example, in 2024, we reforested 3.1 kilometers of shorelines and planted last year approximately 3,000 trees. And we also carry out world mortality surveys, mostly for endangered term species, but we record all the animals that we observe. For example, we had more than 230 world mortality surveys done in 2025, and during those surveys, we found 2,000 dead animals on the road, 117 near Mont-Tremblant. That helps us to then work with, for example, the Ministry of Transportation and find solutions so that wildlife can cross roads safely. And finally, we also do wildlife monitoring. We have an example here of the Évry-sur-le-Lac wildlife crossing, where we installed cameras in 2019, so more than 7 years ago. And we've collected multiple thousands and thousands of videos and photos and recorded more than 15 species. Finally, we also work on protecting and stewarding natural habitat. So we mostly play a supporting and facilitation role in the creation of protected areas, where we accompany local communities in the protection and stewardship of natural habitats. By doing so, we always prioritize local leadership and community-led conservation approaches, ensuring that protection efforts reflect the needs, priorities, and aspirations of the communities connected to the land. We only directly intervene to protect and steward land as a last resort when it is identified as necessary to secure long-term protection. We also see ourselves We always see ourselves as a temporary solution. And if we do take the role of acquisition or stewardship on, it must be aligned with the expressed will and the priorities of the concerned local communities. So now I will speak of the ecological value of this part of the pines. And I'm going to do that based on studies conducted by Terra Humana and on the study that we conducted here at Éco-Corridor Laurentien. Of course, most of it is probably not new information for you, and you know this land in many ways that we do not. So as you know, this forest was originally planted to stabilize the sand and prevent it from spreading into the village. And it still continues to play that role today. Since then, it has also become a diverse old forest that creates habitat and supports biodiversity. There's the Resain Creek also that runs through the forest before flowing into the lake, creating small riverside wetlands that are fed by seasonal flooding, and that's important habitat for frog and salamander species. The forest is also part of the broader ecological network of the region that I presented several slides before. And so it contributes to habitat connectivity by linking natural areas and supporting the movement of wildlife, of plants, of water, and all the ecological processes across the landscape. So the two studies that I mentioned of Terra Humana and Éco-Corridor identified more than 800 plant and animal species, of which 49 plant species, 4 moss species, and 11 wildlife species are considered at risk. In the tree species, of course, what I'm showing here is just a small sample of the 800 species that were identified. But for example, in the trees, we saw the butternut walnut, the black ash, and the plants, the northern maidenhair fern, the ostrich fern, the cursed buttercup, In the birds, there's more than 50 species of birds that were either heard or seen. The red-shouldered hawk, the broad-winged hawk, and the barred owl. And there's up to 3 bat species also that have been either heard or observed. The little brown myotis and the big brown bat, as well as 7 amphibians and reptiles, including 5 frog species. So the spring peeper, the great tree frog, the wood frog, the northern leopard frog, and the green frog, as well as 2 salamanders, the northern two-lined salamander, as well as the red-backed salamander. Looking at the infrastructure on site, this is important for the reflection on the future of this part of the pines. Because in order to have that reflection, we need to know what uses are currently present on site. So during our survey, we mapped a road with rights of way, a bridge that you can see with the red dot here, as well as a network of existing trails, as Chief Etienne mentioned in his presentation. Some of the risks to biodiversity that we observed on the field include multiple unmarked access points and trails, some major erosion hotspots, as you can see on the picture here. The presence of ATVs also, we've noticed that it can cause erosion, it can damage the roots, and the traffic can also damage egg masses and tadpoles from the frogs and salamanders. We've also seen presence of litter, some open fires in areas that are at risk of wildfire, as well as invasive exotic species like the buckthorn and Phragmites. And finally, some tree health risks were also observed, such as the beech bark disease, the walnut blight, as well as the woolly adelgid that attacks the hemlocks. So, in conclusion, Ecocorridor Laurentien is not a developer, and we do not acquire land for profit. We have absolutely no interest in owning or managing land for its own sake. If we do become involved in land protection or stewardship, it's always only a temporary solution or a last resort solution in order to secure conservation outcomes. Our preferred approach is always to support local leadership, local stewardship, and autonomous community-led conservation.
So, these are the discussion points we initially had. That went out to the community, I believe, as part of the survey. So how do you use the pines? What activities should be allowed in the pines? What activities should not be allowed in the pines? Are there activities that should be allowed but with clear limits or conditions? What is your vision for the conservation and protection of this area? What matters most to you in protecting the pines? Regarding the potential partnership with eco corridors, what would help you feel confident in this process? Do you have any concerns about the future of the pines? And have you observed any concerning areas, situation or behaviors in the pines, any specific areas and such? So yeah, these were sent out to the community in the mail. And I believe anybody that was at the last meeting had a chance to submit some comments on that. Can we move on to? Okay, so this is the feedback we've received so far from, I believe, the survey. I believe from the survey. Can we? Regarding the community's visions for the pines, some people suggested ceremonies could involve large but respectful gatherings with a small fire that is then extinguished by water and earth. Just to make sure that there's any smoldering underground or anything like that. Entire areas being protected by environmental staff who monitor it daily, ensuring it survives for future generations. Yeah, that's something that can be looked at and everything like that. And I guess respect for what was fought for and by our community. No non-locals or illegal businesses should be allowed. I think that last bit especially is one of the driving concerns as to why we're looking at this and everything like that. So regarding concerns on a potential eco corridor partnership, people felt that clear information about agreements before decisions are made, and we 100% agree. That's why we're doing this. And this is something that was brought up, I believe, on our own thing and everything as well. Any experts must include our own experts. Yeah, 100% agree. If there are people or anything like that in the community or others that would like to impart knowledge or participate, they just have to step forward. That's all that's needed. So regarding concerns in general, I guess people were concerned that they may not be allowed to harvest medicines. I think that's something that yeah, people are concerned, but I don't think that will be the case. It'd be very odd if that happened. The area must the area is much larger and has been destroyed. Okay,
Much
So-
larger.
yeah, the area is much larger and has been destroyed by continued development by the village of Oka. I'm guessing that's referring to yeah, everything outside of what we're considering here. We agree. But unfortunately, well, for this, this is what was made available. So this is what we're focusing on. It was sort of the path of least resistance. The rest of the land claim and everything like that is still being worked on. It's just this was something. There were immediate, more immediate options available to deal with this in a timely manner. Yeah, so next one was losing what matters most to our community and culture for members who only care about financial gain. Like I said again, that was something that was a driving concern as to why we're looking for some mechanism to have the land come back to the Mohawks of Ganstoga for the use of Mohawks of Ganstoga without having it be vulnerable to unregulated development. So regarding activities that should not be allowed, people felt that large gatherings or events shouldn't be allowed, construction or commercial uses of resources. I think that's something most people would agree with. We don't want this being turned into a quarry or a dump or a concert venue with everything bulldozed. I don't think that serves anyone really. So we don't think people also don't think tree cutting should be done without a plan. We agree. I think this taps into one of the larger concerns that we're going to have to really talk about as active management, as the quarter said and everything like that. This is part of a larger ecosystem that was planted at the same time. There's a life cycle, and we'll have to decide on whether we want it to stay exactly the same. And everything as a pine forest or progress through a life cycle, and everything like that. But that's going to be part of the discussion moving forward. Is what is the actual vision for this? Because there are complications involved with that. Not complications, but we're going to have to make decisions, and those decisions will have to be followed through. Not meaning MCK, but the community as a whole. So there are also concerns regarding behavior in the pines. Lotiwanigate, is situated in an area that is being used by an influx of drug and alcohol users. users caused by the destruction of most of the plants area by community members. Drug needles, used condoms, etc., have been found in the playground. We agree. This is an unfortunate consequence of unregulated construction, commercialization, and whatnot of the area. That's exactly what we don't want to see happen here. Non-locals polluting. Yep, totally agree. Non-locals using the lacrosse box road to roam throughout the community. That's also a concern. And non-locals disrespecting our community members, our community and its members. Yep. There's no. Yeah.
It's not also mentioned in here, but it's been reported to me by Recreation that there are individuals, local and non-locals, that are bringing their dogs to defecate in the lacrosse box.
Yeah. Using it as a dog park, not cleaning up after them. Okay. So those are some of the concerns that community had. During and after the April 30th engagement session, the following questions were raised. What protections would exist to prevent exploitation or inappropriate outside influence on the land? A potential partnership with eco-corridors would involve a contract to include that would include such practices. So the entire point of this is by having eco corridor act as a sort of steward that allows or continues to have access to legal protections that wouldn't be available if the land was transferred in that gray area where it would be like compared to other options. The other options are, this was the thing. What if we just bought back the land somehow? Like if we won the lottery and had enough money to purchase the lands outright from Golan. As we mentioned before, that would still be fee simple lands, and they wouldn't be immediately added to the land base. And as I mentioned, they would be subject to municipal taxes, and any creditors would be able to put a lien on the lands, something we don't want. So another option would be go through the process of adding the land to existing land base. Until the conclusion of the process, which would take several years, the lands would be in danger also again of being seized and would still be subject to municipal taxes. None of these options include any sort of protection measures, unfortunately. Keeping the land at risk of occupation, unsanctioned development, and exploitation, exactly as we see in the part along the 344. So we don't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen, I think. So let's find another way. Let's find a third option, and this seems to be a third option that strikes that meets our needs. Is there any okay. Okay, so during and after the April 30th engagement session, the following questions were raised. What exactly was included in the 2019 Declaration of Mutual Understanding and Agreement? One, it recognizes that we have never given up or surrendered our claim to our ancestral lands, acknowledging the actions of the Crown and its officials who transferred lands that should never have been taken from us. Two, states that Mr. Gaulin agrees to work collaboratively with the MCK to begin the process of transferring about 60 hectares of forested land through the Ecological Gifts Program, meaning that the land would be protected permanently as a natural area rather than developed. Three, it stated that Mr. Gaulin was willing to make other vacant lands he owns about another 150 hectares of land available for possible transfer. Discussions with the support of the federal government. That's not included in this arrangement, just to be clear. That was that's another parcel of land that you know is being discussed. Leave it at that for now. Number 4, it states that the following as the foundation for good faith collaboration. The Mohawks of Ganastauga do not give up any Aboriginal rights, title, claims, or legal positions by signing this agreement, meaning the MOU, not this future agreement that we're talking about right now with Equal Corridor. But we're not going to give up any rights or title, anything like that. That's ridiculous. And then Canada's obligations remain unchanged. Their fiduciary duty to Mohawks of Ganastauga are still there. The agreement does not weaken or deny claims to unceded lands. I guess it's a statement of fact. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else beyond that. And then the following questions were also raised, but are on matters that need to be determined in the future with the community's input. So once rules for a land use are established, who would enforce them and how would enforcement occur? What governing structure would oversee the protected areas or IPCA model? What mechanisms would ensure accountability, transparency, and community oversight moving forward? How would community consultation results be collected, validated, and incorporated in decision making? And then how would long-term stewardship responsibilities be shared between MCK, community members, and any potential partner organizations? Most of those will be probably going to be the subject of agreement with Eco Corridor. So we're not there yet. Like I said beforehand, this is still the research and learning phase and everything like that. And once everybody's comfortable that they've got a grasp on, the community agrees, we'll move on to start hashing out what the actual agreement was, and that these questions will be form the basis of what is negotiated in that contract. It's just they're good questions. They're just a little premature. Was there anything else? Okay, I guess, and then if we can check or actually, am I able to see the questions?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to showing the questions.
Yeah. That is. I think I did that. I did do that. Okay, interesting. Okay, the chat is. Okay, yeah, I was talking about, okay. So let's check the chat, I think. There are a few there, and Amanda's been patient. We appreciate that. Does this, why doesn't this go up? Okay. Engagement, understood. Research the engagement phase. Can clarify, please be provided funding sources for legal counsel involved. Members remain concerned. Okay, so one question was, in this research and engagement phase, could you please clarify the clarification please be provided regarding the funding source for legal counsel involved, as well as representatives from Eco Corridor? Yeah, as far as the non-legal counsel, in order to address this, counsel is absorbing the cost. I don't believe we're tapping into any funding for that.
The engagement, I believe there was some communication funds that we could use through RARSD, which we might be using for this.
Okay, yeah.
Just the engagement though.
Yeah. So, yeah, just for the engagement, for Eco Corridors, I think.
It's our own funding.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is strictly within their mandate and their work, so. Yeah.
We're free of charge.
Yeah. So. Okay, the next question was, or statement was, Let's get down a bit. So many community members remain concerned because lands purchased by Canada following 1990 have faced ongoing misuse, uncertainty, and lack of clear land allotment processes for more than 30 years. Gift or no gift, the legal process is not being communicated. Who will be heading this 2019 controversial land issue gift? I don't know what a controversial land issue gift is, but this one is, I guess, being headed by MCK still. It's the only legal governing body for the Mohawks of Ganastauga, and no other organization has the mandate or legal responsibility to head these types of matters on behalf of the Mohawks of Ganastauga. So that. Are any comments, questions? Anybody?
No, I think a clear next step is necessary if we're going to get a handle on our lands, and that is the land allotment, land use.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she's kind of mentioning these items.
Yeah.
And I do agree that is kind of the direction that we should be looking at moving forward.
Yeah. Okay, so for the sake of transparency, could clarification please be provided as what's the engagement process was initially presented as an MCK Lands Department initiative, but is now clearly being led or represented by two caretakers. We deserve to understand who is directing this process, under what authority, and at what stage the caretakers became involved, and what expertise they bring to this. So this is being organized by the Mohawk Council of Ganastauga, whether it's the Lands Department or the chiefs. You know, it's the body of the Mohawks of Ganastauga. It's ongoing work. You know, it has to get done. There's only so much time to get things done. We are under a bit of a clock with Mr. Golan, unfortunately. So that's sort of that. You referenced the land claims as still being an active file. Could clarification please be provided on whether there have been any recent developments in this process? Is there currently an active negotiating table in place with Canada or Quebec? And if so, who is formally representing Ganastauga in these discussions? They're ongoing, but I think it's kind of outside of the scope of this. Yeah, but they're ongoing. That's essentially it. For clarification, item 3 refers to Mr. Golan's other vacant lands. Are these some lands currently tied to litigation involving OCA, zoning bylaws, and alleged disguised expropriation? What is timely constraint you speak of with Mr. Golan? I believe. Did you want to say something?
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
So, yes, so Mr. Golan owns lands both to the east of here and the west of here. And so he owns a significant amount of land at Pointe aux Anglais. And this land that he owns at Pointe aux Anglais is currently the subject of litigation because the municipality and the MRC changed that land to a conservation designation. They changed the zoning because the idea, of course, Mr. Golan is a property developer. And so his plan was to allot the land so people could build homes on it. But the municipality and the MRC changed the zoning to conservation so that no houses can be built on it anymore. So he has sued the municipality and the MRC for disguised expropriation. So those lands were part of the lands that were in that kind of second part of the MOU, where he said he would make them available to be purchased by Canada for Ganastauga. So those lands, yes, have some litigation attached to them. And in terms of time constraint, I mean, Mr. Golan has been, you know, as you know, we're just talking about it. The MOU is in 2019. So it's 7 years ago now. And he has indicated that he wants to move forward with this issue. So that is the time pressure.
Okay. Okay, one incoming question. Okay, thank you. Was there any timeline offered by Mr. Golan as to when this offer expires, explaining this urgency? No, I mean, no, he didn't give us a detailed, breakdown, but, you know, it's been a while, you know, and there's not really anything, preventing the, work on this. Like we said, this isn't the stage where anything has to be signed. We're in the research and information gathering and sharing stage. This is, you know, low stakes. You know, there's no, we're not signing away the future of the land or anything with this. This is simply to, give people a chance to, find out, what's being offered, present their ideas. If they have alternative ideas, bring them forward. Once again, I think that'll be the end of, the session for tonight. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who came out and to the meeting, our community members, our legal counsel, and Eco Corridor. I'd like to thank the, people that, attended online. And I'd like to thank everybody that will watch this in the future when it's posted. As I said before, I hope all 3,300 Ganastali alone who watch this many times absorb the information and overload us with more questions, answers, and amazing suggestions than we can deal with. Other than that, thank you and good night.